welcome to Emma's ESL English. We are back on video again because I discovered it gives me way more time, so we're probably going to be on video for a while. I hope that's okay with you guys. Yeah, so we are out and about. I was struggling to figure out what to talk to you about this week, and my mum said that she was going to come here. Actually, she does lace, so she's come to Workington to do some lace. So I put two and two together and got this, and luckily the weather is perfect for it, although the weather does not match what we're studying today. Never mind. But it is very warm by my standards, which is totally different to your standards probably, depending on where you are in the world, but it's like 20-ish degrees, and I put a too warm t-shirt on and it's sunny. I'm going to do this from 3 different angles because I'm going to do all of this week's videos here. There's a theme. Let's start with that. So I'm going to try and do them from 3 different angles. I'm not sure if I'll make it. I might have to put the sunglasses on. I did not think to bring a hat, so my apologies. Anyway, so we are on the seafront by a town called Workington, which is on the northwest coast of England. Behind me here, you can see, over there, you can see St. Bees Head. My parents' house is on the other side of that, and my house is, you can't quite see and I can't quite point it out, but the other side of this head here is where Whitehaven is, which is where my house is. So we're a little bit further north. Scotland is just over there, so maybe in tomorrow's video you'll be able to see Scotland. And the Isle of Wight, sorry, wrong part of the country, the Isle of Man is over there. Oh, it's right there. So I'll see if I can get that in one of the videos too. And then what I'm gonna do is go up the top of the hill over here and take you a surround video so you can see, because on the other side over here are the mountains to the Lake District. I'm very lucky I live in a very cool place. So we are literally sitting on the beach here. So if I start moving around and shifting, it's because I'm sitting on a rock. And so what we're going to do this week is I'm going to read for you 3 things. Don't worry, they're not very long. From 3 different books, 2 fiction, 1 non-fiction. All of them are about the sea. A little point in the book that is about the sea, because this is the sea. All of them are about bad weather in the sea. This is not bad weather, so the day is not matching my scene, but nevertheless, we're in the right place. So what we're doing here is 2 things. We've got listening practice. I guess we can say 3 things because we're looking at vocabulary too. So listening practice, vocabulary, and writing for detail, for creating, in Speakers Club we used to call it word pictures, creating word pictures. So making your writing more interesting, more detailed, being able to put the reader in a place is kind of what we're looking at. So if you're not writing in English, maybe it'll just give you some idea of what people do to put you in a place, and hopefully it's maybe relevant in your language too. If you are writing in English, then maybe it can give you some ideas, and I'm going to give you a little thing to do on Thursday. Okay, so today's book, the first book, wow, it's starting. The first book is Harry Potter. I'm sorry, I have a whole pretty much library of books, and I really struggled to think of which books had a scene about the sea in them. So today's book is Harry Potter. And those of you who've seen the movie, which let's face it, at this point it's pretty much everybody on the planet, this is the scene where Uncle Dursley is getting really annoyed with the amount of letters coming to the house. And he decides to literally ship them off to sea. He takes the family to a horrible little island in the middle of the sea that is not very nice. So first of all, let me read, and then we'll look at some of the vocabulary, and then we'll look at some of like, what are they actually doing? So these might be a little bit longer than normal. Okay, so first things first. found the perfect place," he said. "Come on, everyone out." It was very cold outside the car. Uncle Vernon was pointing at what looked like a large rock way out to sea. Perched on top of the rock was the most miserable little shack you could imagine. One thing was certain, there was no television in there. "Storm forecast for tonight," said Uncle Vernon gleefully, clapping his hands together. "And this gentleman's kindly agreed to lend us his boat." A toothless old man came ambling up to them, pointing with a rather wicked grin at an old rowing boat bobbing in the iron grey water below them. "I've already got some rations," said Uncle Vernon, "so all aboard." It was freezing in the boat. Icy spray and rain crept down their necks, and a chilly wind whipped their faces. After what seemed like hours, they reached the rock, where Uncle Vernon, slipping and sliding, led the way to the broken-down house. Inside was horrible. It smelled strongly of seaweed. The wind whistled through the gaps in the wooden walls, and the fireplace was damp and empty. Yeah. Not great. Not great. Not really a very nice place to be. And he's so delighted for them to be there as well. It's quite peculiar. It always amazes me. Uncle Vernon doesn't really ever seem to mind how horrible this situation is for him, as long as it's horrible for everybody else as well. Not ideal. Okay, so let's look at some of the vocabulary in this little section. So the first thing is perched. The shack is perched on top of a rock. So that means something is sat on top of something and it's not comfortably, like birds perch on things. So it's that idea of you're like, miserable, very unhappy, very sad. So that gives us an idea of what the sea is like on this day. It's depressing when we look at it. Shack, small building. Usually it looks like it's about to fall down. So a badly made building is what we're talking about. Gleefully, if someone is gleeful, they're very, very happy and excited. Ambling is kind of an easy rocking walk. Not going very fast, just taking your time, but pretty easy. Rations are a limited supply of food. Specifically, it comes from during wartime when we have a limited supply of food. But he's got rations, meaning he's got enough food for them. He hasn't actually got a few bags of crisps. And the wind whistled through the gaps. I was going to do the wind whipped first, actually. The wind whipped their faces. This area's got loads of dog walkers, so that's why you can hear whistling happening. The wind whipped their faces, so a whip, like we do with horses. Don't do that. It's not very nice for the horses. So if a wind is whipping your face, then it's hitting your face. It feels very painful. And the wind whistled through the gaps. That's that sound that we get with wind. So both of those were describing what the wind is doing. So listen to the language. It's really used to help us understand this environment that they're going into. It's sad, it's depressing, it's cold, it's wet. It's just everything about it is like, ugh, why are we here? So some of the longer sentences, let's listen. So, perched on top of the rock was the most miserable little shack you could imagine. So everything about that sentence, it's perched, it's uncomfortable. It's on top of a rock, let me tell you, that's uncomfortable. It's a little shack, so it's not even a very good building that they're going into, and everything about it is miserable, it's sad, it's depressing. Iron grey water. So in this case, you can't quite see awfully well, but today the ocean here is very blue, and that's because the sky is very blue. It reflects the water, right? And it's the same thing, obviously, if the sky is full of clouds, then the water is also very, very grey. So this iron grey tells us that it's not good weather. Icy sea spray and rain crept down their necks, and a chilly wind whipped their faces. This tells us we're really seriously uncomfortable. We've got icy cold water dripping down our necks. Oh, that just makes me feel cold thinking about it. and the chilly wind is whipping their faces. So everything about this is cold, sticky, just depressing, and we don't want to be here. We don't want to stay here. It's really uncomfortable. The wind whistled through the gaps in the wooden walls, and the fireplace was damp and empty. So this is telling us about the building, the shack. We know it's cold, we know it's drafty, we know it's going to be impossible to start a fire. So there's no way we can improve this situation. It's just getting worse and worse. Okay, so that's our first reading for today. As we can see, it's not very nice. The sea is very depressing on this day, and that depression is reflecting how Harry's feeling. So we've got really this feeling that Harry has is very much in the environment around him and affecting everything that he sees, but also, Uncle Vernon, not a nice guy, really, not a nice guy. All right, so tomorrow we'll be facing that way. I might have to wear my sunglasses, and we're going to be talking about this book. Very excited about this book. If you have any questions, you can email me at emmaseslenglish@gmail.com. You can head over to the blog at emmaseslenglish.com to get all of this written down. And I will see you at the same time tomorrow. Bye!